Well, hello and welcome to the first episode of the Your Adventure Challenge podcast. It's super exciting. Mark and myself have been talking about doing this for a while now. It's finally happening, so here we are. We've got some really exciting subjects coming up for you in the next few episodes, including how to raise money for charity, talking to an amazing author of an incredible book, which is the basis for why Your Adventure Challenge happened. We're also going to bring you some stories from previous challengers. Not sure what the right word is there, but we'll go with it. In this first episode, I'm delighted to introduce to you the person who made it all start, Mr. Mark Stanzer, who started it all. Mark, how's it going?
Yeah, it's going okay, thank you. Yeah, it's we've got off to a bit of a flying start, so yeah, it's great.
Fantastic. So let's start right at the beginning of this story. I've known you for a little while now, but this all started before I even met you. So can you tell us now about how your adventure challenge came about and what it was that kind of inspired you to go on this journey?
Yeah, I can. Basically, it started really a long time ago when I was in my 20s. My brother's son became ill, and to try and raise some money for research, we did the Yorkshire Three Peaks Challenge. That was quite a long time ago, and that was the start of it, and never really stopped. Just had to fit it in around work, and then what happened was I started to realise that the importance of being outdoors more than anything, and pushing yourself to another limit, and the benefits it did for your mental health as well as your physical health. I started to understand it, and through very personal circumstances, I was uh, I couldn't. I was helping somebody with a situation that they were in, and then one day, um, I was driving to work. I work as a consultant for bars and restaurants, and I was driving on my way to work, and I came across a book called Adventure Revolution. Just thought I'd put that on, and on my way, it just everything that I'd thought about was documented in this book, and I was absolutely captivated by it, and it really hit all the subjects that I knew what was happening in my own mind, but would never be able to put it down in words like that and have the scientific facts behind it.
Can I just
So
ask you at that point, what are some of the key things that stood out to you in the book? Obviously, we're going to go kind of hopefully deep dive into the book with the author at some point on this podcast, but can you sort of just summarize two or three of the key points that really kind of jumped out at you and made you think, right, I need to make some changes here and thus your adventure challenge was born.
it was the detailing of different people that had been through uh, hard challenges and yet had come out and it had made such a difference to their life. And through adversity, or it was really highlighted through adversity, and through going through these challenges, it really did make a difference. And I think on one of the in one of the chapters, the author details that she'd come out of the National Geographical Society and was confronted by a mother who went up to her and said, "What have you done to my daughter?" Thinking that this mother was going to criticize her. And what happened was the mother said, "My daughter, you've changed my daughter for the better. I don't even recognize her. She had just changed her, and she's got more confidence, and she got more about her." And I think I recognize that because I'd seen that too, and I've seen it with people that like family members and people that I'd been on different types of challenges with, and they were feeling, well, I don't want to do this anymore. And then all of a sudden, a light switch comes on, and okay, they throw themselves in, and through adversity, they come out better. And it goes into much more detail than that. It goes through the scientific facts as well. and I really, really just got me. It got me straight away, and that was it. That was the light switch moment, and I just thought, wow, I have got to do this because for me personally, I'd experienced it, but I wanted other people to experience it too.
So this is the Adventure Mind book by Belinda Kirk, yeah?
Yeah, it is,
So
yeah.
if anyone's listening and they're thinking, wow, I need to read, listen to this, however you want to consume it, I think I've got a feeling Mark might very highly recommend it. So earlier on, Mark, you said something about how people, were coming up to you and saying, oh, can you help us do this challenge or, help us paddle down the River Wye? What is it about your lifestyle, about your kind of, experiences in the past that made people comfy to come up to you and say, "Hey, Mark, can you do this for us?" over other people?
Well, because I am an outdoors person. I love being out in mountains and in rivers, and people know that. And because of that, people were asking me, would I take them? Would I help them? Asking me questions about doing different challenges. And it started from there, really. It's been going on a long time. And then it was a case, well, I'll actually take you. So I started taking different people on these challenges.
That kind of hits a really important point, and something that I suppose, if you're doing a challenge properly, you should consider, and that's if you're not fully confident to go at it alone, have someone there to do it for you. So you had your friends and family coming up to you because they know you were experienced and they knew you could trust you. They knew you'd be safe. And I think that's something that we've really brought into this as we've been going forward with your event challenge, is that idea of keeping people safe, making sure people are as prepared as they possibly can be. And really, because it could be very easy to go, oh, I'll just do it on my own. I'll just climb. There's only 3 mountains, whatever, or it's only 85. Well, if anyone says it's only 85 miles down a river, they need a reality check because
Yeah.
I don't think paddling down any kind of river is a simple task, even if you are just in the Dordogne or something like that. I think you need to be aware of the risks and aware of the, the potential dangers and whatnot, so that it's a safe and fun time. But
Well, I've got an interesting fact about that.
yeah, go on.
I read somewhere that it was 65% of challenges fail because of the logistics, because people drive in, they get lost, or they get lost on the route, the weather, um, and when somebody feels like, right, okay, I want to turn around and go back, it breaks the team up, and some people want to carry on, some people don't, and we experience all that kind of emotion. But I think from our point of view, when we take people on a challenge, all they need to concentrate on is putting 1 foot forward or one paddle stroke forward, because we know the route. We've done it many times, and we use expert guides, professionals, that make sure that all you need to concentrate on is getting yourself through that particular challenge. You don't need to get a map out. You don't need to start thinking about, oh my God, have I come the wrong way? The weather's looking bad on top of that. It's starting to snow on Ben Nevis. Is the path going to still be there? Am I going to get back down okay? A lot of people do it and they have no problems, but some people do it and they have a lot of problems.
The people who come and do a challenge like the National Three Peaks or the River Wye Challenge, the Paddling Challenge, or even the Three Lakes Challenge, those people, in our experience, tend to be people who have been outdoors a little bit, but they don't have a lot of experience mountaineering. They don't have a lot of experience paddling. They're the sort of people who, it really is a massive, excuse the pun, it is a massive mountain to climb.
Yes.
To mentally, physically, all of that. They're not the sort of people who go out on the weekly basis and scale Ben Nevis every few weeks, or they're the sort of people who love the idea of it, but they need the support. So we're not talking to the hardcore hikers out here. We're talking about
No,
people
no.
who want that experience and want a safe and experienced team to get them there to do it and help them do it safely. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, well, normally what can happen is people will normally say, well, we know somebody who's ill, or we want a New Year's resolution. I know Mary down the road, her son's become ill, and we want to raise some money for him. Things like that. Let's do a challenge. And they might have done a little bit of hiking, they might have done a little bit of paddling, they might have done something. But all of a sudden, they're entering into quite a serious challenge. And to talk about doing, say, even the Yorkshire Three Peaks, it's a challenge. It's a long, long day where you're up the Three Peaks up in North Yorkshire. And it's okay, but if you go up a mountain and you get lost up there, then there's a problem. So, yeah, and I also, what I did as well before I did all this, I'd used different guides myself. I've been on many, many guided trips, and I've been in the mountains quite a lot with different guides, and sometimes, that can be a problem as well because the pace might not be right and things like that. When we do it, talk to the people, obviously, get an idea of their capabilities, why they're doing it, and then we look at the challenge that they might want to face, and we're quite straightforward with it, whether they can achieve it or not. Because sometimes turning around and saying we're going to do the national Three Peaks, it's easy to say, but it's difficult to do.
Yeah, it's a challenge it's called a challenge for a reason, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah, and that's quite a nice little segue into a kind of starting to think about, what is it that makes us a bit different to the other companies out there who are offering challenges like this? Because, there are other companies, that's fine, and we know
yeah,
that, everyone knows that. And one of those things I think that you've touched on there is that kind of you're not just going to go to a website and go, oh, I'm going to do National Three Peaks, press book, get a date, and then you're booked in, and then you go. Um, I think it's really important for us to actually chat to the people who are organising it, chat to the people who are likely to take part, and actually figure out, well, what is the right challenge for you guys to do, for your team to do? Because yeah, it might be great. It's a great aspiration to do the National Three Peaks Challenge, but if you've got 10 people who they're just not going to make it, um, we don't want to put you through that. We'd rather put you through a challenge that actually is doable, achievable, enjoyable, but is still a challenge for the level at which that team is at. And I think that's really important. So that's why I guess if you go on the website at the moment, you won't see a bunch of challenges with a loads of dates and you just pick your date. And instead, you're encouraged to talk to us, get in touch, have a conversation with us. And it's not a knee-jerk reaction. It's quite a process. But what that means is the challenge you end up doing, you're suitable, it's suitable for you, and you're prepared enough to get it done, right? Like, is that an important thing for you, do you think?
yeah. I mean, when on every one that we've done on it, we get involved in. We want to understand why you want to do that particular challenge. Why have you chosen that? And who are the team members? What are their capabilities of doing it? And we have a real good discussion around the challenge. And then what we try to do then is arrange a meetup, and that gives us a chance to really meet up and talk about the route that we might take and any questions that people have got that haven't been answered. So it gives us a real good insight into the people that are taking part in it. And then what we normally do is we arrange a training day. So for people taking part in a challenge, we'll get them out on a kayak, a canoe, or we'll take them out. We'll do a walk, and then we'll set up a training plan. Then we create like a WhatsApp group, and everybody's putting in their particular days of training, how many hours they've put in, how many miles they've walked, and we start making sure that people are doing what they say they're going to do and are training and not just leaving it too late. And then there's a big question to ask, which is a very serious question: is what happens if somebody wants to pull out and they're halfway up a mountain and they say, "I've had enough. I want to stop." And sometimes that can mean that the rest of the team say, "Okay, we'll all stop," or it might mean that, right, okay. And this is where the difference is, because I've had it done to myself, where some people will send you back down the mountain by yourself, and it's a very, very scary experience when that happens. We won't let that happen at all. We have people there that if they've said they've had enough, and we bring them down, wherever they are, and that's really important to us.
Yeah, it's super. Yeah, it can be super dangerous. Like even the most experienced, people on the mountains can get into trouble, and if you don't really know what you're doing, then it's obviously even more dangerous. And actually, at the end of the day, of course, it's fantastic to finish a challenge. You've worked so hard for it, but if it's getting to the point where it's dangerous to carry on, even for the whole
Yeah,
group, it's not actually the end of the world to say, look, to be sensible ones and say, look, we've gone as far as we could. We've enjoyed it. We've had a good time. We've raised some great money for a great cause. Let's leave it there. Let's remain safe. We've still challenged ourselves, right? And let's just stay safe and go and call it a day. There's no um don't let pride get in the way of safety in a way.
absolutely.
Mm.
The mountain, the river, and the lake, they're always going to be there. So we can always you can always come back to that. And safety is a big issue for us, but we've had some great personal experiences taking people up on mountains and on rivers and lakes, because we've become quite close to the people that are taking part,
Yeah.
and it becomes an emotional journey too, which I didn't think it would be so emotional when I looked at doing this. But it does become, because you become part of that challenge and of that cause. And I've got a few that um, that have been very emotional to be involved in, very gratifying that we gotten through that particular challenge, and that's kind of what makes it worthwhile.
Yeah, and
It
I
really
think
does.
a lot of the time, these people, they're doing the challenge for themselves. They're, to push themselves and gain that confidence and enjoy the benefits of the outdoors. But then there also, there's the charity element of it, which the majority of the people, I would say, they're doing it specifically to raise money for a certain cause. And often that stems from personal experiences or experiences of loved ones and things like that. And so there's a reason why certain causes are chosen, and so that, the emotional element is like when you're walking or when you're paddling around or, when you're in the outdoors, whatever it is, there's this camaraderie which allows people to open up massively, right? Like you can open up to someone in a way you never would in an office. Like your day-to-day Monday to Friday office, you might never talk to your colleagues about certain things that happen in your life, but I guarantee you, if you start walking in the hills with them all the time, things will come out, right? And that's part of the emotional side of things. You get so close to people so quickly, even in 24 hours, like you 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 feel that kind of bond massively grow. And that's great for a team who's potentially struggling, or, there are some things that a team in an office needs to work on, getting them out in the mountains, that's or, on the rivers and whatnot. Um, isn't that a fantastic way to really kind of break the ice between teams if there might be maybe there's a bit of tension or there's some issues in terms of leadership or whatever, it's a great way to do it.
Well, I mean, you bring up a great point there, Steve, because here we are talking about all this, and you yourself have been so actively involved in going out into mountains, and being a part of that. So you've witnessed that yourself, haven't you? I mean, what happened when you went out there?
I've yeah, I've had some interesting experiences on mountains. I've always loved hiking in the hills and things like that. I've been lucky enough to climb to Everest Base Camp, and film a short documentary for that. I've been lucky enough to go to the top of Kilimanjaro, and I've also been lucky enough to go to the top of Mount Toubkal in Morocco as well. Some beautiful hikes, beautiful challenges. Me and altitude, we don't get along well. Uh, Altitude often normally almost wins, but then you kind of push on, and I've managed to summit all of these things that I've attempted, and yeah, I've seen some of exactly the same things as you have. People not being able to carry on, and that you, it's like a reluctance to admit it sometimes. I remember one time on Mount Toubkal, it was a 2 day trip, 2000 something meters ascent in 2 days, and then a descent all the way back down to the beginning again in that on that same second day. So it was full on intense. And then so you start Toubkal quite early in the night time. It's a night climb. You start with head torches and snowshoes and ice axes and all that sort of stuff. A good friend of mine, Dave, he was feeling unwell, but he was like, "I'm going to soldier on." And this is someone who's been to Everest Base Camp 5 or 6 times. He's done
Wow.
Kilimanjaro. He does altitude. That's just his life, right? But he was feeling ill, and in fact, there's in the film you can see the moment it happens. So if you want to go and watch that, you can. Um, but the conflict between thinking, "Oh, I want to carry on," and knowing deep down that it's not the right thing to do, it's so obvious to see. And at that point, you have to just be a mate and be like, "Look, like you said, Mark, this mountain's not going anywhere." And lo and behold, he went back down. He was safe, lived another day. And then I think like 6 months later or something, he went back, absolutely smashed it, and got to the top, right? So it was worth it. But yeah, like safety element. I'm naturally quite cautious. Like I'm a risk averse person anyway. Um,
Uh,
so for me, that's like it's a really important thing just to make sure people are safe. And I've got quite a lot of experience teaching dinghy sailing and making sure people are safe on the water. I've got lifeguard qualifications, so I know what to look out for in terms of safety on the water as well. Um, so even though I'm not one of the people who would take you out on the river as a guide, if I'm talking to someone who wants to do it, I've got an idea of how it all works and how to paddle and stuff like that. So, we've all got really great key skills behind us that enable us to really provide a lovely, lovely, lovely time for people who come into our challenges. And we're quite friendly people too. That helps. Um, you
True.
can you can talk to us for about 4 hours and then expect intense banter from then on, I think. Um,
Well, that just happened. I mean, we've just done a trip there, and we set off different people to when we came back. Um, that's
I
for sure.
noticed that, yeah, because so you
Uh,
mentioned the WhatsApp group earlier, and beforehand, this was a team of people who worked together, and beforehand it was all serious, quite not tense,
yeah.
but people talking about their training and they were nervous and stuff like that, and it was quite full on and serious. I was just lurking in the background, I wasn't getting involved. Um, and and then after the trip, like it was just like a switch had tripped. Is that the right phrase?
Yeah, yeah.
Whatever. Something had changed, and yeah, like it was just full on, full on. Let's just take the piss out of each other. And
Well, yeah.
when's the next challenge happening? And that's an amazing change, and that just shows how I don't know if that was life changing for any of them, but how much of a change you can go through just by completing a challenge, and how gratifying it can be to raise that money. And it's an amazing thing to
Well,
do, I think.
well, to be honest with you, my career is in hospitality, and I've won awards, and I've won things and certain things, through the hospitality sector.
Mm.
But somebody wrote me a letter after they'd been on a challenge. I won't say who it is, but it it made me stop in my tracks. That did, because it meant so much, and it put all the other awards that I'd ever received into insignificance, because that letter just meant everything. It changed somebody's life. This is what the book tells you. This is that it explains what happens with people. I'll tell you a funny story about that book in a minute.
Do it now.
Coming on. Okay, all right. Well, I did something I've never done before. I've put on, through my days in hospitality, running nightclubs, bars, I've put on lots of different singers, headlining DJs, big artists, and things like that, and never and celebrities, coming in and so on and so forth. I worked for a football club, Sheffield United, and we used to host a lot of football players there at the time. They'd come down for a dinner and a talk, and they were my heroes. But I've never been like overwhelmed. But something inside me, when I read the book, wanted me to go and say thank you to the author. So I got my friend to drive me all the way up to Kendal Film Festival to get her to sign the book and just to say thank you. And I was waiting in the queue. I'd never done anything like this in my life before, never. And I was waiting in the queue.
Starstruck when you saw her?
No, I was just a bit overwhelmed. I'm thinking, why am I doing this? And then what happened was I realised that I'm in the queue, but I forgot the book to get it signed. So what am I going to do now? What am I going to do now? And all of a sudden, the queue disappeared. He went down there, and right in front of me is the author, Belinda Kirk, right in front of me. But, hello, and it was like, hello. It was in the time of COVID. We'd just gone through COVID. He didn't know whether to shake hands or touch elbows or do anything. So I think we just gave each other a hug, and I just said, look, there we were. I said, I've travelled from Cheltenham. I just wanted to say thank you.
Did you
And
tell
we
her you
both
forgot the book?
Pardon?
Did you tell her you forgot the book?
No, I just said, look, I've come up here. I just wanted to say thank you. And we ended up in tears, really. It was just a bit overwhelming. I'd never ever experienced anything like that. But now, I'd like to. And then I attended the Adventure Mind conference, and unbelievably, I got asked to be an Adventure Mind ambassador now, which is a very proud moment for me. And
Yeah,
I'll
just briefly on that point. I think we might probably aim to wrap up soon, but let's since you've mentioned the Adventure Mind conference, do you want to give a little bit of a rundown on what that is and why people might want to attend that? Because it's an awesome thing to be part of, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. What it does, it brings a lot of like-minded people together, and people that are involved in all aspects of well-being and understanding what adventure does. It's trying to promote what adventure does to your mind and the effects it has. And by promoting it, I guess, from that side, more and more people will understand it and more people will embrace it. So when I was there last time, I was talking to somebody who was saying, their experience of with their children is that they're on laptops a lot of the times. They come home from school, they're on a laptop. Then they're playing gaming. They're on all kinds of things, and that's what young people do these days. Whereas, like certainly when I was a child, it was like you'd go out and play, and that would keep you fit because you'd be running about all day. And we were climbing trees, we were climbing walls, we were jumping in lakes or rivers, and we were being adventurous as young children are. And all of a sudden, this society, it's like we've taken that adventure out of society. And I think this conference shows that the need to make sure that we get it into society, and all the evidence is there, and it's compelling evidence. It's overwhelming. And why are we not? Why aren't the adults? Why aren't people, teachers? Why aren't people like this who are responsible for this? Why aren't our politicians? Why aren't people like that? People in power? Why are they not putting more money into this? I mean, playing fields. What's happening with playing fields now? What's happening with youth clubs anymore? All the youth clubs have gone. Well, scouts and things like this, And I think what Adventure Mind is about is making sure that people are aware of the importance of it, really. And all the evidence is there.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to promote it. I'm trying to be a person who promotes it. And how I promote it is by talking about it and by explaining to people who are booking on these challenges with us the importance of it, so that they then spread the word too.
So yeah, the Adventure Mind conference. We're going, aren't we? And so it's the 21st and 22nd of November this year.
Yeah, we're going
in Kendal. The Bendrig Trust is where it is. You can go to adventuremind.org/conference if you want to get more information about that. I'm just reading off the website here. What have they got? The tickets include all the presentations, indoor and outdoor workshops, panel discussions, and networking on both days. You get a 2-course networking dinner. You get lunch, tea, coffee, and biscuits every day. That's a game changer, isn't it?
Last time they had me.
If you want to meet up with some awesome people in the depths of winter and lift your spirits, it's definitely a one to look out for, isn't it, in your calendar? 21st and 22nd of November. I'm excited.
Yeah.
So if you want to meet Mark and Steve from Your Adventure Challenge, go to that.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Okay, cool. Let's just really quickly, can you just give the quickest summary you can of each of the main trips that we concentrate on? Putting you on the spot here.
Yeah, okay. So obviously we do the most popular one, which is the National Three Peaks, which I don't really like because I think there's too much traveling in it. But it is the most popular one, so we do facilitate that because we get asked to do that quite a lot. We do the Yorkshire Three Peaks, which are the three highest peaks in Yorkshire: Pen-y-Ghent, Whernside, and Ingleborough. And we do that challenge. You have to, I think it's about 24 mile in 12 hours. We do the River Wye challenge, which is 85 mile.
That's paddling downstream.
Paddling downstream, so you're not climbing up hills. You can go with the flow. We have all expert guides on this as well. It's over 3 days. The challenge is over 3, but we say to people, if you want to do it reasonably, do it over 4. But you can do it over 3 days. And we talk about the accommodation on that one, what kind of accommodation you want to stay in. And then we do the 3-lake challenge, which is the 3 largest lakes in the UK, which are Lake Barla in Snowdonia, Lake Windermere, Lake District, and Loch Awe up in Scotland. Loch Awe is a big, long loch, and it's very challenging. I'm not a guide. I've got to say this. I'm not a guide. I never want to be a guide. We use guides ourselves. We use experts to do this. And you do need that when you're taking this type of challenge on. You do, because the weather can have an effect on it. So, but yeah, and we're just introducing 4 more. One is the Brecon Horseshoe Challenge, and we also do the Malvern Hill Challenge, which is it's still difficult. It's 9 miles across the Malvern Hills. And we've got 2 more exciting challenges, which we'll announce a little bit later on. We're just putting them together.
Exciting times ahead, that's for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, Lovely stuff. Thank you very much, Mark. I hope everyone's enjoyed listening or watching if you're on YouTube. Um, it's just been a lovely chat with Mark, a really nice way of introducing the company, what we do, what we're about, who we are, because I think, it's an important thing to know who's behind the business, because when you're coming to your Adventure Challenge, you're definitely going to interact with both of us and, of course, lovely Karen, who's not here with us today. But sorry, that makes it sound like she she's not on the call with us today. Let's put it that way.
No, she's not, but she'll
But yeah,
also be
she's
at the Adventure Mind conference with us as
so
well.
yeah. If you're going there, you'll meet Karen as well. So that's really
Yeah,
exciting. Social channels, obviously, please do. We'd love to see you popping up and following us on Facebook, Instagram, or if you're a businessy kind of person, we're on LinkedIn as well. Feel free to connect with us as well if you can find us. Steve Bollschweiler, Mark Stancer. There's a little challenge for you if you want to go lurking into LinkedIn. Um, and yeah, obviously, you're watching this or listening to this on your preferred podcast provider. Follow along. We've got some great episodes planned in the coming weeks. So if you want to learn more about the trips, how to prepare for them, how to raise money for charity, what some people have done on trips before have done, and hear from Belinda Kirk herself about the book and where it all came from. I'm excited about that one. Yeah, follow along. Whatever the word is that your preferred podcast platform uses, just click the button that does it, and we'll speak to you again soon. Thanks very much for listening, everyone. Bye, Mark.
bye. Thank you very much.